Show us how social TV works, even though social TV for me has a different connotation than web TV. Tell us, what's the difference?
Yeah, it certainly has, and I personally believe TV has been social forever. So, but let me, is this the right thing? Yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you for having waited for me for a second, and apologies for being late. I feel a bit strange, because when you have like the speakers before you who are like international and from the US, and they have all these great statistics, global, world-dominating statistics. I'm from Cologne, from Germany. We are very, very local, and we are only based in Cologne, and we do apps. I mean, you see like all this great technology which we've heard about today. I'm somewhat thrilled, because sometimes we think like, oh, we just do apps. We just build those apps. Is that enough? But honestly, it's a privilege to working on those apps, because everything we saw today is actually delivered to consumers through apps, through these pieces of software that run on mobile devices. And we are doing just that. We are only focusing on building this, establishing this last piece of the experience. And we happen to have a focus in TV and media-related apps. We are not just doing that. We're doing lots of different apps, but more than 2/3 of our business is closely related to second screen and television apps. And one of our largest customers is the media group RTL, which is Europe's largest mass media company. And we built some 20 second screen apps for them, primarily for their flagship shows like Pop Idol and X Factor, and those that have a very, very broad reach. And today I give some real-world examples, not so much statistics. I think we've heard lots of statistics today, and we all believe in that social media is tremendously shifting how we do many things. But I try to give some examples of stuff that really works, and works in Germany. And I emphasize this because we are in Europe, and we saw lots of examples that work in the US. And Germany is known to be, well, a little bit over-concerned when it comes to privacy. And I always get a question from our customers like, well, yeah, that's great. It all works in the US. It's all big numbers. Does it also work in Europe? Does it work in Germany? So all the examples we see today are real-world applications that are out there that are used by a European audience. And let me just, I have to catch up a bit with the slides here, because I'm late in time. So let's look into social TV and what it actually is. Some people tend to say, well, is it the end of TV? Is it disrupting TV? We don't believe that. And in fact, the number of hours people spend on watching free TV, just leaning back and consuming TV, is increasing. It's not decreasing. It's not the end of TV. And I introduced this whole theme with stating that actually, TV has been social forever. It is a social experience. Most of us sit in front of a TV in a group. We discussed what we saw last night with our friends or our co-workers. So it is an inherently social experience. What the appification of TV brings is another additional means of sharing that social experience with your peer groups. And I give you some examples for this. If you look into Wikipedia, that's a pretty lengthy definition of social TV. And I'm pretty sure many people have worked on it and thought about it. If you nail it down to just one sentence, it's really social TV is a synthesis of TV and social networking. It is about bringing social networks to the TV experience. And this is pretty disruptive in and out of itself. In the television industry, what we've seen so far is pretty much hardware advancements. And it's mainly driven by the TV vendors, by the home entertainment vendors. I mean, we started with black and white TVs, and we introduced colors. TVs became flat. We now have LCD TVs, and we have LED TVs. And this was all about improving the form factor, improving technology. We also have 3D now, which is kind of a little bit overhyped. I mean, everybody has to do it now. But if you look into the numbers, people are not really that excited about having 3D at home. But primarily, the landscape of the TV in the past couple of years has changed primarily in terms of the form factor, hardware, etc. It hasn't changed how we engage with what we watch on TV. And this is significantly changing with the wake up of social TV offerings. And social networks are playing quite obviously a key role in this development. Let's look at an example. People are talking about things they see 24 hours, 7 days a week. And in fact, we do run the mobile experience for Pop Idol. In Germany, it's called Deutschland sucht den Superstar. We tend to make things longer than in English. And what we do is, while the shows air, we keep on posting to Facebook, to mobile devices, etc. And this is one of these posts. And if we move this up a little bit, just 12 minutes after posting something to Facebook, to those mobile devices, we get some, and you might not be able to read that, we have 17,000 likes and 3,000 comments, and that is a German-only audience. So whenever we hear stuff like, well, people do not engage, do they really want this? This is truly a proof that it is happening. We have 17,000 people liking and 3,500 commenting, which means they get really active and excited about something they care about. And we see that within just 12 minutes. If you go to Facebook, go to those applications that we run, you will see that these numbers increase and double up within the next 10 minutes. And most of those engagements are driven by mobile users. We see millions of users watching those shows on iPods these days. So it's really shifting away from just doing it on your living room TV to mobile devices. There are a couple of other use cases. This is a US company. It's called GetGlue. And what GetGlue allows you is to check into TV programs. So you might know about Foursquare, where you check into a location. With GetGlue, you check into TV shows and you can like stuff, etc. And actually, lots of people are doing it. There are millions of people checking into their specific format-related community. And this, as we've heard today, and this is obviously where MicroStrategy has a huge stake in, you get lots of feedback about what they like, which parts of the shows they like. And it's really lots of valuable information those showrunners and networks get from people who are watching these shows. Broadcasters are also embracing it. It's a difficult situation these days for broadcasters, but they start to really get social. This is actually taken from one of my favorite shows. It's In Plain Sight. You might have heard of it. They constantly, this is a screenshot from the TV. So within the show, they take some space and advertise social channels. They go that far that they even build specific apps for a show where you can get exclusive content, which is only available on those additional channels. So there are sidetracks and different paths in these shows which you can just watch if you start to engage in those social channels. And the easiest thing they do, obviously, is they put hashtags in their program, which is not necessarily social in and out of itself, but it shows that those channels get more important for the people who do these great shows. We also see that mass media companies are really embracing it, and we have the privilege to work for RTL Media Group and show you some examples today. This is an application which is not yet available. It will be out later this year, and it's RTL's attempt to totally make the TV experience social. You will be able to watch their entire program live on your iPad, on your Android devices. And what they constantly do, they integrate social channels. So down there you see that while the show airs, they advertise stuff, they give you additional information, they let you check into shows. And it's overall a great experience. You can purchase songs when you listen to a great tune in a movie. You can immediately go to iTunes and purchase those songs. And this is not like from a scrapboard. This is not something which is designed and will never happen. We are building it as I speak, and it will be rolled out later this year. And it's truly integrating all of the social channels, Facebook, Twitter, and some others. It will allow you to check into shows. It will allow you to directly do transactional business and purchase digital goods and real world goods. An exciting application, and obviously we are happy to build it. And here are some more details. As you see, it's a true second screen experience. You have like your main signal, your linear TV signal upper in the left corner. You will see your Twitter feed. You will see your Facebook community. All of the stuff related to the show will be in that app, consolidated to that second screen. And we are happy that some of the statistics we saw today suggests that people are actually using their iPads while they are watching shows. And the RTL takes it a step further. You can even take it outside. You can continue to watch their program when you're not at home or not in your living room. And this is exciting. They have many stuff there. Like they have moderated content, and it's really becoming a whole new experience for their audience. And it's a trend we see everywhere and anywhere. TV manufacturers are on the other side of the business. They build the stuff, and they had a tough time these days. Everybody's talking about when will Apple ship their new TV, and will we ever see it? And we happen to work for one company where there was some rumor in the past suggesting that Löwe, which is a German company, it's one of the premium brand across Europe, and there were some talks that Apple is going to acquire Löwe. A couple of weeks ago. It hasn't happened, but we happen to work for Löwe. We built all of their social apps. So what we're seeing here, it's another application. It's available in the App Store. Löwe customers love it. What Löwe does is they take the electronic programming guide and transfer it into a total social experience. It's deeply integrated into their hardware. So it's your remote control, but it goes way beyond it. Löwe understands that just doing a remote control on your smartphone, this is really just a step zero, and you have to do that. It's a must do. But what they do is they make it really an engaging experience. You can get recommendations for stuff you might like. It's all taken from Facebook. This is deeply integrated into Facebook and into your community, so your electronic programming guide will change depending on your preferences, etc. And it allows you to record stuff, so it provides suggestions to you to record stuff, etc. It has a digital video library. It's a huge social app. Interestingly enough, it's driven by a TV vendor, which means that everybody in this space is kind of identifying that just providing a single linear service as in the past or just shipping hardware is no longer enough. You gotta embrace those services, and you got to deliver an added value, which is grouped around social experiences. And as I said, we see that from showrunners to program and production companies up to TV vendors. It's a pretty interesting space to be in. How big is this? Well, I don't know whether you can read this. Facebook and Twitter user numbers are comparable to the biggest TV audiences. This is interesting. The level of engagement on Twitter and Facebook while some shows airs is as big and as relevant as the TV audience. And this has changed over the course of the last 2 to 3 years. When we were first talking to RTL a couple of years ago, the TV guys, I'm sorry for that, but the TV guys were like, well, mobile, we don't care. We reach 40 million people in Germany, in German households. How many iPhones are out there? We were talking about numbers. But what they start to recognize is the relevancy of those people. And they for the first time, they think of their audience as being customers. I've never heard that before. When we talk to broadcasters, they are always like, yeah, this is the audience we broadcast. Now they start to narrowcast to customers as opposed to broadcast to an anonymous audience. And they see value in it, and at least RTL is investing lots of money in different efforts, and they are keen to experiment. So it's no longer like, oh, we don't want to do that, we want to protect our incumbent model. It's really going into a direction where they try and they allow to fail, which is also pretty new in that industry. And they start to take risks to make TV more social. It's also nearly 2/4 of US consumers multitask while watching TV. We have heard this before. 42% are online, 29% are using smart devices, and 26% are sending instant messages, which obviously also always means that they take away some of their attention from the linear TV and put it into different things. And obviously in models where your business model is based on advertising, which is in most of the private broadcasting stations, that is the case. You got to be careful once attention spans shift to different outlets. You want to control those, and the only way to do that for broadcasters is to control that second screen. And that is why we see more and more broadcasters becoming platform operators or virtual platform operators, which also operate all of those social channels. And I liked I don't know who said it today, I think it was Brian. He said that so many companies fear to lose control over those social channels. And we start to recognize that companies see actually an opportunity in it. It's really happening. The attitude is changing, because at the other end, you can't prevent it anyways. I mean, customers always talk about their experiences. They will do, and now they get better outlets to do it and larger distribution. So what do? I mean, you can die, literally, or just start to control it. And we clearly see that in the TV space, because obviously they have a broad reach, many people talking about it, and they want to control those platforms. What's interesting is, in fact, Facebook and Twitter are major players in global television, even though they don't produce a single program. I mean, they do not create content. It's all user-driven, or they fetch it from elsewhere, but they don't have a single program. And they also don't broadcast a single TV channel, but they become a very relevant and dominant player for those in the incumbent industry in that space. And people are discussing all of the time. We have lots of opportunities for broadcasters here in terms of distribution and engaging with their audience/customers. There's also an opportunity for revenue. As I said, most of the broadcasters today have an ad-driven model, so they sell advertisements, commercials for airtime. And they tend to get rid of the middlemen in those value chains. RTL is clearly asking a question: why don't we more directly participate in transactional business? Why do we enable advertiser X to rent airtime to indirectly sell more? Why don't we sell directly? Which has been kind of a no-go for years, but it's changing because it's getting so much easier. And the value of the reach can be monetized in much more ways than just renting out airtime. And that is happening. This is interesting. This is an eBay application down there in the background, which identifies what you're watching in TV and then automatically provides you with stuff on eBay that is related to what you're watching. So that's interesting technology-wise, and it works. There are some pretty interesting numbers about how much people really buy in the moment they see stuff on TV. There's also, if you look into the agenda, I got to get one step back. When I was asked by Karl-Heinz to talk about social TV and about is it very visionary, we were really wondering, is it a visionary topic? Everything we saw today, everything we do today is real-world stuff. It's out there. It's already used by millions of users. So it's not something which happens maybe or potentially in the next 5 to 10 years. It's out there today, and people love it. And initially, we planned to have somebody else here who did a co-session with me. He can't be here. Marco can't be here today. Marco from Syzygy. But what Syzygy has done, it's a creative agency. They try to think about television in the future and take it even one step further. And there are lots of technology hurdles which do not enable what we will see in the next 2 minutes. But it's a vision of how you can really take this social engagement beyond just sharing, liking, and communities. And I hope you enjoy it. I have to contribute this to Syzygy. It's not done by my company, but we love it, and we would love to build an application like that. If you have an idea for an application, feel free to come back to me tonight at the party. We would love to build something for you. And now we need the sound background. Yeah, pretty amazing vision. Not yet available, but we're working on it. And thanks for paying attention.
Ralph, that was absolutely fabulous, and I would have about 20 questions to you now. I will refer to the evening, and I should think that everybody else does, so that we can go ahead. Very nice of you to sort of show us the vision of the next step in the future. And by the way, you all have seen that program, like TV. Are you working for them as well?
Yes.
Good. Good to know, just in cases. Thank you very much, Ralph.
Thanks.
Wonderful.